We begin with an Eyewitness News exclusive disturbing video of a gay man being beaten in Queens.
The video shows two men kicking and punching a man on a mostly deserted street. Eyewitness News reporter Jeff Pegues has more on the tape, which some may find upsetting. Jeff is here now with more.
49-year-old Jack Price remains on a respirator, but the video shows in graphic detail how lucky he is to have survived the brutal assault that investigators believe was fueled by hate.
Today in the U.S., homosexuals enjoy legislature that protects them from the abuses and prejudices that have terrorized their culture since the beginning of the gay rights movement and beyond. Unfortunately, despite how far we have come, homosexuals still face hatred and prejudice every day. This is Rickey. He's a 54-year-old gay man who was born and raised just outside of one of the most gay-friendly cities in the world, San Francisco. He volunteered to tell me his story about coming out and what life was like growing up gay.
My name's Rickey Travalini. I am 54 years old and I'm a professional real estate agent. I pretty much knew that I was gay from the time that I was 5 years old. I remember going into my aunt's closet as a young child, probably no more than 6 years old, and she had very small feet, and so I would take her high heel shoes and put them on and walk around in them. And of course, this was something that wasn't received with a great deal of enthusiasm from the other cousins and uncles, and certainly my father. And so I was actually punished and told, you know, this is wrong and this is bad and you don't do this. This isn't a good thing. I was ridiculed very badly and bullied in high school. It was very difficult for me to get through my high school classes. I used to have to walk all the way around the perimeter of the high school to get to most of my classes so I wouldn't have to go through the mainstream and be hit or spit on or pushed or made fun of. I actually had to hide and was very aware of whether I had my legs crossed or whether I was sitting a certain way or the way that I spoke, if I had to drop to a different octave, the way I used my hands, the way I fixed my eyes, the way I made motions. Because often we were thought of as rapists, we were thought of as pedophiles, we were thought of as drag queens, we were thought of transsexuals, we were thought of as homosexuals. The American Medical Association actually at that time classified it as a mental illness.
A sickness that was not visible like smallpox, but no less dangerous and contagious, a sickness of the mind. You see, Ralph was a homosexual.
When I was drawn to be with a man, it was always something that was very quick and very secretive. I would often seek a girlfriend so that I could immediately counterbalance from the guilt that experience. I remember being in a hotel room and taking the kids to Disneyland with my partner, this man that I had been with for 8 years, and room service came. And when they knocked on the door, I ran into the bathroom and shut the door. And after room service left, I came out and my partner looked at me and goes, "Why did you do that?" And I said, "Well, I didn't want them to know that we were here together, that we're gay." And he said, "Number one, most bellmen in hotels are gay anyway, and who cares? When you really think about it, we're paying for the room, and what is your consciousness that this is a problem?" And that was really the first time, I was over 40 years old at that point, that I actually sat down and examined what my motives were. I had become a homophobic homosexual. So I really didn't come out until I was almost 45 years old, and in my second long-term relationship with a man, when I finally decided that I'm good enough, I have enough self-esteem, I have enough self-worth to admit that it's okay for me to be gay. It's okay for me to feel safe with that. It's okay for me to be in society, regardless of their judgments, regardless of their heckling, regardless of their abuse, because I was intact enough as a man to know who I was. The discrimination of people everywhere, for whatever reason, continues to happen. Recently, I was in Berkeley, one of the most progressive towns in the United States. And a younger boy, probably 16 or 17 years old, screamed obscenities and judgments about me on the street for no apparent reason, other than I was just walking by. And he happened to be black, which I thought was very interesting, because had it been 30 years ago, I, as a white male, regardless of my sexual preference, could have been the person judging him.